Hello everyone and welcome back to Run It Up Apprentice today. Yes, that's right. We are here reviewing a $200 buy-in tournament played by one of our Run It Up warriors. I haven't looked at any of these hands. The only thing I know is there's two hands later on at some point that our hero here mentioned to us. I don't know anything else really about our hero or anything. All I know is that he's playing a tournament and he wants some help. So let's talk about some spots. It's going to be a fun little video, I think. Haven't done a tournament review in one of these in a little bit of a while. Nice little start here with Ace Queen. Agree with a raise, obviously. All right. I would think that we would start with the bet here. Ace Queen is likely to be the best hand. We could check call, but that opens a whole can of worms. You know, you have to think about like, well, all right, if we check call, I mean, you know, what happens when we check call versus when we bet? If we bet, does he fold better? Or yeah, does he fold better? Does he call with worse? If we check, do we make mistakes? Do we make mistakes when we check call? Does he maybe put us in some weird cage pressure later, stuff like that? So I think with a guy we've never seen before, very first hand, I would lean towards betting. Let's see what our hero Jesse decides to do here. He decides to bet a little on the small side, but it's in the ballpark. And we have a caller here. Kind of a safe turn card here for us. We could still have the best hand. Our opponent could have Jack 10, 10-7, 7-6, worse ace highs, every once in a while, random nonsense like king queen, stuff like that. I think I would be inclined to check call here. Could arguably check fold if you bet like 1,000 or something like that. I like the check. Our opponent checks back, so okay. So we have a decision to make here between check calling and check folding. I think we start with the check almost for sure. I don't think betting accomplishes very much. Jesse agrees with me. And our opponent checks back. Let's see a winner. Ace 10. No good, sir. Nice. Perfectly played. Slightly too small on one street, but that was great. Well, nice start to the match here. So I'm not planning on going over every hand because we're at the early stages of the tournament, but as we get deeper in the tournament, I will go through every hand. But at this point, I'm only going to go over hands that we're actually playing. So on this hand, the small blind completed. We checked on the big blind with king deuce, flopped the old top purr. I think we're going to start here with a call or a raise. I think either are viable. Against a guy who has a double stack here, we don't know how he has a double stack. I think you'd raise here pretty comfortably for value. You know, all he did is complete and then bet 100. I think we can make some money here in position. I don't see I think what we're going to do, call and then raise turn? Probably not. We're going to call and then call and then call. I think we can call and then I think we can just start with a raise and just try to get a little bit more money here in the pot with what is very likely to be the best hand. Jesse decides just to call though, which I think is okay. Against a check here on the turn, I'm obviously betting. I'm really confident we have the best hand. I think checking back here is just letting him just get a free card for no reason. We're not getting any value. We need to build the pot a little bit. We're in position with top pair. I would love to see a bet here from Jesse. He agrees. Takes it down. Nice job. Okay. All right. I doubt we're going to see a play here with the old 4-8 offsuit. You never know. You never know. Maybe Jesse is wild Jesse over there. It's not impossible, I guess. 10 jack here. Okay, kind of a tight fold, but I think this is actually fine. This is one of those spots where I think you'll see some deviation. Is it like that? Yeah, it's deviation. Yeah. I think you guys will see some path branching here. Some people will raise this, some people will fold this. I really think that at a table you don't really know. You know, no one knows you. You don't know anybody. I think you can err on the side of tightness. I think that's a very reasonable thing to do here. And against guys you don't know, or the hand that's not so good, I think folding is totally fine. I'd probably open if I was like one position over, but I think where we are here, we're like just slightly too short for the roller coaster, so to speak. Jack 5 goes into the muck. King 4 goes into the muck. In the big blind now. So we could defend this. I think it's okay against Tom Riddle over there, but not really getting a great price. Don't know anything about this guy. I think folding is actually fine. In like a live poker setting, if somebody said to me, hey, I want to call here, I think this guy is a clown and I have a skill advantage and I just love 10-8 offsuit, well then sure, okay, call. I think calling is certainly defensible, but I think folding is certainly quite reasonable. Look, he would have made it to top pair status. 5-4 suited, huh? Interesting. Okay. Pretty good flop for 5-4 suited, huh? All right, so we know a little bit now about this Tom Riddle character, that he's at least a little bit of a squeezer, which is okay. So we decided to re-raise this here. I'm not really sure. Oh, we didn't re-raise. This is a limp. Okay, blinds went up. Okay, I like this. Against a guy who's a short stack, he's probably not limp shoving or anything like that. This is probably a little bit of a weaker play. He had the Jack-9 offsuit in the other hand that we saw. We did see that hand, so I think this is fine here. Could make it actually even a little bit bigger than this, but I think this is okay. I wonder, before we click the button here, I would like to hope that our hero would have figured out whether or not he is going to, like, how are you going to react to a re-raise in this spot? You should know that before you raise. What's your plan? Is your plan to raise call? Now, obviously, you can change your plan if you're like, yeah, I'm going to raise call, and then you raise and he's like, snap, I'm all in. You go, well, now you have new information to consider and account for, and then maybe your end ultimate decision is going to be a little bit different. But assuming that there's no extra information coming in, he just does a normal, I'm all in. You shouldn't be thinking at that point. You should already know what you're going to do when you start out with a raising with a hand like this. So I think our plan is to call. Let's see what happens here. He just decides to call, though. All right. Not the greatest flops for ace-9 offsuit. Think we just let this one go. It's obviously a spot we could be ahead, but I don't think we're ahead often enough given the price. Jesse agrees. Guess I can just skip the 8 deuce hand. All right, raising it up here with ace-queen. Looks good. Re-raise from WT Online Poker. Certainly not folding. Could actually re-raise depending on what we thought of this guy. If he's been aggressive, if he interprets us to be aggressive. You know, this hand kind of like fluctuates. I just knew I was going to do something for fluctuates, right? It fluctuates like genie style of terms of like, you know, depending on the situation you're in, your opponent. This hand could either be a hand that you would treat more like ace-king or a hand you would treat more like ace-jack. I think it's entirely dependent on the situation. And I think calling here is very reasonable without some like information to treat it, you know, as a more premium type hand. Certainly not folding though. Pretty good flop all in all for us. Let's see what our opponent decides to do. I think this is a spot where I would be really, really inclined not to fold. If we were like super uncomfortable, an amateur player, you know, if this was your first time playing, you know, if you're Michelle Obama, first time playing poker, you don't have a pair, you just want to fold, okay, I understand. If you want to be Michelle Obama, go ahead and check fold. But I would think that our hand is still likely going to be the best hand a pretty good percentage of the time. We're getting 3-1. There is some opportunity for us to get bluffed here on the turn because this is a good board for the pre-flop raiser, but I think that we're going to win this pot often enough that calling seems okay. I don't really like raising too much because what's the story you're trying to tell if you raise here? You're not telling any reasonable story. So, which is why it's good to raise sometimes if you have it somehow here. If you have a 6 or like aces or kings or something like that. Let's see what Jesse decides to do here. I won't vomit if he folds, spoiler alert, but I would be a little bit slightly disappointed, I think. Oh, disappointment oozing out of me right now. Oozing. You know, I mean, if he's never re-raising light, like literally never ever re-raising light, then, by the way, this could maybe be a spot for aggression. Not necessarily, but it could be maybe. Just a spot to consider. I think folding is fine. People behind us, you know, we don't want this guy to limp shove, but I think he's limping wide enough that we could probably have played this aggressively. Okay, interesting hand. You know, I think that ace-queen hand is just going to be a little bit too tight of a fold there. Now, if he's like never, ever, 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 ever re-raising light, so he's always got like ace-king in pairs, then folding is more reasonable. But, you know, even against like, if he turns up 2 7s, you're making a mistake folding mathematically, or very close to making a mistake. You know, you're right on the line there for a price if your 2 overcards are good. And if you have the best hand in fold, boy, what a catastrophe that is for you. I mean, you know, catastrophe is maybe a bit of a over-dramatic statement, but it's not a good thing. Raising it up here with pocket jacks. Pretty good flop for us. I think we could either check call or bet. I think this is a spot where you can kind of cater your decision based on your opponent and how you think your opponent will perceive your betting here. You know, if you are against a guy who, if he has like, you know, 10-9, if you think this guy is calling with all sorts of nonsense and will just fold all that nonsense to a flop bet, I kind of like checking here against a guy who's not like super sophisticated and is just like, well, he checked to me, I got nothing, I'm gonna bet. Like against a guy who does that, then it's totally fine. Give him the old checkaroo, let him do his thing. But I would say that I would like to bet here more often than to check. We do decide to bet, and hot for Rossel decides to let everyone go. Okay, so I would actually say that maybe we could have considered checking against that particular guy in that particular case. I mean, it's slightly results-oriented, of course, but I would say that that's a thing that we could slightly lean us in the future towards checking in spots like that versus that guy. Great spot for us here. We just saw this clown re-raise this not that long ago. Maybe clown is too strong. We just saw this fella re-raise this an orbit ago. We hit ace queen, so he may even anticipate that we are sick of his nonsense. So I would love to see a re-raise here, something around the range of like 2,500. Could be as small as 2,200, although I think that's a little too small. Could be as big as like 3,000, though I think that's a little too big. Somewhere in between there would be fine. Let's see what Jesse decides to do. Hopefully it's not call, although I actually don't hate calling here as well. It does let us do some really interesting things post flop, puts our opponent in some weird mistake making farms post flop. So I like that idea. The concept. He's in a mistake making farm. That's great. I like that idea. Let's see what Jesse decides to do here. Oh, we're taking him to the mistake making farm. Oh, lovely. Let's see what happens here. So when you're flat here with ace king in spots like this, you need to be like really sticky, really sticky, because you could have the best hand with ace high. If an ace or a king turns, it's so good for you, because if our opponent has nothing, he may be re-energized to keep bluffing when aces and kings spike, because they are traditionally more beneficial for the pre-flop re-raiser than for the defender, right? So I would really like to see us not fold, never mind the fact that we have a 3 straight, never mind the fact that we have a 3 flush. Actually, we have 2 3 straights, I'm just saying. So I would really be upset if Jesse folded on this flop to a bet. Let's see what happens here. And I mean every one of those reallys. Okay, please don't fold. Please. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm hurt so badly right now. You can't fold there. This is bad. This is just bad. It's fine to just call pre-flop. It's fine. You're going to put him in the cage. You have this great diabolical plan, and then you flop queen 3-4. You beat all his... He could have king jack and be like, I probably had the best hand. You know, so many mistakes could be made here, and you have such a good price. And yeah, this is mistake city for sure. I mean, again, it's not like a mistake that I think is like a. I think plenty of people would make a similar mistake. They have no pair, they just fold. It's fine. But I think that you're definitely giving away some money here. And if you're going to play ace king like this post flop on boards as relatively tame as this one, never mind the fact that you flopped a 3 flush and a 3 straight. But boards like this, you're still going to have the best hand such a good percentage of the time, and you're almost always good to your ace and king. Never mind hearts and deuces and fives and jacks and tens. So many good turn cards for you to win the pot on if you don't have the best hand. It's a absolutely great spot, and I think folding here is pretty bad. And if you're like, well, I'm just conservative, I want to save my chips for other spots, and etc. Well, if that's how you're going to play this hand, then that's okay, and that's totally fine. If your strategy is like, I don't want to mess around, Jake Carver. It's a big tournament for me. I don't want to mess around with ace high. Okay, that's great, but let's just re-raise pre-flop then, and make way less of a mistake here. Just make it 2,800 pre-flop, and then, if he shoves, call. If he doesn't shove, you just win the pot. You know what I mean? I would say that if that's your plan, then you should just start that plan a street earlier and just avoid mistake-making city. Oh, I was so excited to go to the mistake farm, and we just made our own mistake. We just burned the damn farm down with us. All right. Bit of a tight fold there with the 10-9 offsuit, but I think that's fine. You're probably just upset at yourself for folding ace-king, or maybe I'm upset at you from the future, one or the other. Again, a little bit on the tight side, especially because we know the big blind seems like he's a bit of a spewy Samuel over there. So I think this is a fine fold, especially against the raise, but against the guy who we are anticipating is probably a little bit closer to a marshmallow than a mountain. I think we should probably be... I have all these little sayings today. What is going on? Okay, it's like all these little like folksy sayings I got here today. All right, sure. It's the Folksy Apprentice. Okay. The hand seems all right. Obviously, it's a little bit unconventional, but fine. Could have defended this, but it's a good thing you didn't. Yeah, I'm really sad that we folded this ace-king to this aggressive fella over there. Did that go to showdown? Actually, I'm kind of curious. Let's take a look at that, because it does look like he lost a big pot there. Unsurprisingly. Checks and calls, checks and bombs it, and calls with ace-king. Well, at least he had it this time, but it doesn't necessarily mean he had it all the other times, but I guess it's slightly good to know that he had it that time, I suppose. I guess folding there seems fine. Ace queen again. Let's see what we do here. This is a great spot to re-raise. This guy, Toker, has been limping a bunch of times, and it's very likely that our opponent on our right has picked up on this and is making a raise here with a wider than normal amount of hands. If this is the case, ace queen is a large favorite against those, plus the fact that we have position really makes me want to hop in there and put this guy to... I don't know where I was going with that, folks. Go put that guy in the value cage. I don't know, but raise would be great. We decided to call. All right, everybody decides to join us. It's a lovely 5-way bath here we have with our ace queen. Pretty good flop for us, at least. I mean, I think this pre-flop spot is just too good to just call in. But I mean, calling is obviously fine, but I don't think it's as good as raising is. It's just too good of a spot, I think. Checks to us here. I would love to see us bet. I think somewhere in the realm of 1,000, 1,200, 1,400, 950, somewhere in this range would all be fine. I mean, I think the biggest mistake would be to check. I mean, I guess the biggest mistake would be to just fold your cards and out of turn or something. But barring some weird thing like that, I think the biggest mistake would be checking. Any kind of bet would be fine. Okay, seems all right. I'm not really sure how you're coming up with these numbers, but okay. I'm going to assume you have some sort of a wheel that you're just like spinning and you're like, oh, 11 and 20. Okay. Oh, okay. That's interesting fold. You know, if we know this guy is really tight, then I guess it's fine to fold. I don't think it's like I think the ace-king fold on the flop is like a 9.2 out of 10 in terms of like, oh my god, I'm going to have nightmares. This, I won't have nightmares, maybe mild indigestion, but I think like, you know, what is going on today? But I think like it's fine, but it's a little on the tight side, you know? If this guy is really not opening very much, then I like this. If he's opening a decent amount, then I'm like, well, what are we doing here? We're dominating him so often. And it does go through, so we don't know. You know, we have to just watch that guy, I guess, and just kind of see. And we haven't been watching every hand, so it's tough for us to say what the right decision is there for sure. But my inclination is that that's probably slightly on the too tight side. I would definitely want to raise 2 10s here against a guy we've seen limping as much as this fella. I would like to make it 650, somewhere in that realm, 750 at highest, maybe 550 at lowest. Oh, ding, ding, ding. Oh, that was a weird sounding ping pong. Okay. Sorry, it's a little rusty. All right. Toker does call. Interesting flop here. So I think we have two decisions between check calling and bet doing something else. I think that I kind of like check calling here a little bit better than betting. I mean, I think they're both very reasonable, and you could do different things against different opponents if that's what you wanted to do with your life. But I think that I would start here with a check and go from there. Against a guy like this, who we've seen is kind of, you know, he's kind of wide pre-flop. He doesn't seem like particularly sticky post-flop. I think I'd rather check than bet, because if we bet, he's probably only continuing if he has some connectivity. We have all the 10s, so he doesn't have Jack 10 or 10-8 or something like that very often. So if he has an ace, he's never folding, and betting doesn't really change that. And I'd rather check call, maybe give him a chance to bluff, maybe he makes like a lower pair. I'd really like check calling more if we had kings than 10s, because there are more overcards, obviously, that threaten us with 10s. But I think I still like that better than betting. Let's see what Jesse decides to do here. I actually think that this might be the worst sizing for betting. I mean, if we're gonna bet here, I think this sizing is kind of like, like it's like 700. Like I feel like you're almost like asking him to just like raise to 1,700, and you're just like, I guess I fold. You know, like I feel like you're kind of asking yourself to get put in the cage a little bit here. Now I'm not sure if this guy will interpret that this way or anything, but I just feel like this kind of reads as kind of weak. And yeah, I know your cards, so it's easy for me to say that, but I think I would have liked even like 850, considerably more than 700. You know, you want to discourage him from clowning around, and in this case, like I feel like you're kind of encouraging him. He decides to call. Now I don't know what you should do. I have no idea what you should do, because I would have check called. So at this point, you know, you can check and make a decision. I don't know what else you can do. You could try to bet again, but I don't really know if I like that. I mean, I feel like I hate both of your decisions, but I think I would check, or both of your options, I should say. All right, well, we're on the same page with checking. Good sign for us that he checks back. I think that that does mean that he's probably not too strong, and we're pretty likely to see a showdown. I would start here with the check and see what happens. I don't think betting makes any sense here either. Okay. All right, good news for us. We might actually win this hand. Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, I mean, Jack is a bad river card for us. One of the worst river cards. We lose to Jack 10 and apparently Jack 8, stuff like that. So 10-8. Interesting. Yeah, I guess I would have lost this pot too if I would have check called flop, then check turn, check, and then river went check, maybe even check call. So I'm not, it's, you can't judge the hand off of, what he actually turned up with, obviously. Who would have thought he has Jack 8 there? But I think all in all, I really like check calling flop better. I think that as you get better and play more poker, I think you kind of learn how to navigate yourself through hands like that, and kind of protect your stack. I don't know what that is. So kind of protect your stack a little bit from being too beat up, in spots like that. You're not going to get. You give him an opportunity to try to bluff, and you don't expose yourself to making as big of mistakes. I think that as you play poker more, you'll kind of get a sense of spots like that and when you can get away with. We lost both of our friends here. When check calling is superior to betting, and I think that's one of those spots where check calling is just you just win the pot more often. You lose less, win more. It's a tricky spot, but how to play spots like having 2 10s on an ace 9 7 board in a re-raise or a raised pot. He limped, he raised. Those are the spots that really kind of separate the good players from the mediocre players, because the mediocre players will usually mess that up. Whereas the good players are usually more capable of getting through them with less pain or more profit. Pretty good flop for us here. We defended this hand, which is kind of weird. Of all the tight decisions we've made, I feel like this is kind of on the loose side. And it is. I mean, it's not kind of. It's definitely a little bit on the loose side. But, I mean, I think it's fine. It's just inconsistent with the rest of your decisions. Maybe you're just mad at something over there. Chris Christie closed the bridge or something over there. I don't know. So, okay, so here we are now on the turn. I guess I don't hate checking here. I would have liked to see us bet, but I guess checking is all right. Check, and check. See, one of the issues with checking twice in the spot, checking on the flop is obviously fine, but checking on the turn, if we didn't improve on the river, we're just okay, river is an 8, we're just going to lose this pot now every time. It's one of the reasons why betting just makes sense. We're going to get people to fold better than 10 high. We also can represent spades better. If the river is if one of them calls, river is a 6 of spades, we can bomb it, maybe get them to fold. River is a heart. Let's say the river is a 4 of hearts, and this guy has pocket 4s. We're not going to get much money if we don't bet the turn. We get a much bigger pot on the river. I think betting turn is actually pretty much not mandatory, but I think if you're going to defend hands like this, you kind of got to put a little bit of aggression in at some point. And I realize that Tom Riddle didn't cooperate with you on this aggression thing, but I think we should have heavily considered betting on the turn here. And now we decide to bet really on the small side. I don't really know what ingredients you put in your cauldron here to come up with 475. I mean, I don't hate it, but I'm more just perplexed. What made you bet 475 instead of 800? Do you think they're not going to call 800 with hands? This guy almost has nothing ever, right? Because he didn't bet twice. He just checked back twice. So this guy's almost never calling us. Almost never. And this guy didn't bet on turn, so I would suspect that this guy is not very strong here very often either. So if they're both not calling very often, then I guess betting smaller makes a little bit more sense. It lets them pay out of curiosity, so I guess that's a good enough reason to do it. But yeah, I mean, I guess actually it's fine. The more that I think about it, I think this is actually okay. At first, I was just not really sure why you did this, but I guess that makes sense if that was your thought process. Let's see if you get paid here. Non-surprisingly, you do not. Wish we had just bet turn. I think the river decision for sizing is fine. I think anywhere in that realm of normalcy is okay. But I think the biggest mistake is just not betting on turn. Raised it up here. All right. Like to start here with a bet. He's definitely going to call us with worse. Oh, no. Jesse, please. Please, Jesse. Please bet. Oh my god. Jesse, please. Oh, please don't fold at least. Oh my god. Jesse, please. All right, let's rewind this universe. Let's make like we're Zillion here and rewind this. Okay? So we won a 2,000, or we won 500. What did we win here? 500 plus blinds and annies and your pre-flop raised, right? So 550 plus the 160. So we're on like 1,200 chips here total. Let's go to this universe here. He checks. It's on us. What do we bet? Let's bet 600. Check. 600. He calls. He has ace 10. Wow, that's great. So now we're up to, what was pre-flop? What did we make pre-flop? So this is 550, 700. So we bet 600 on flop, and he calls. So now we are at 1,300 profit so far this end. Here he goes. There's 9. He checks. He goes, well, maybe this guy has 10-8, 9-8, 7-8. Maybe he just has like ace-jack. He could have any number of things that are just, and by he, I mean you. He could have any number of things that are just betting here. So you check, and now we bet an extra 1,200 to 23 on the pot. So we're going to bet 1,500 on the turn. Okay, he goes, maybe he folds, but let's say he probably calls like 70% of the time, given that he has exactly ace-10. So, okay, so he calls that some percentage of the time. Now, on the river, he checks. You go, okay, I'm not sure anymore. Maybe I don't have the best hand. Maybe I do. Sometimes you bet. Most of the time, you probably don't. And you check back there. So, in this universe, you've now made some percentage of the time you make a little bit less, but I don't think I have to even go through it. You've made clearly way more money. And he's going to call you on the flop with 10s, straight draws, 7s, maybe like 8s, 9s, king jack, ace jack, jack 9, maybe even as bad as like, 6-8 suited, weird things like that, And you're going to want to bluff here with so many hands. You're going to open hands like ace-4 suited, pocket 5s. You're going to want to bet in this flop so often. You should really put these jacks in the pile of hands you bet. You're going to just make so much money this way. And the way you played the hand was okay, but you just did not maximize your profit. And, you don't get too many premium hands. And the difference between, the elite players and the regular, just people who are just playing poker, or that the elite players are really trying to maximize the amount of money they can make off these premium hands, and I don't think you did that here. Just saying. All right, off to the next hand here. I just forgot we're not looking at every hand. Pocket 10s, raise it up under the gun. Seems fine. Maybe a little bit small for under the gun. Pretty good flop for us. Would love to see us start with the bet, although I don't think checking is terrible, but I think betting is certainly the place I'd like to be at. Okay. Excuse me. Our opponent checks. I think I'd like to see us bet here twice. I have no reason to fathom that he's got us beat at this point. I mean, he might, but I doubt it. I'd like to see us bet somewhere in the range of like 1,800. I think if we bet like 3,000 here or something on the higher end, we're going to get him to fold hands like 7s. Pocket 8s might even fold, I think the bigger you bet here, the scarier it looks, and the more likely that he's only going to continue with hands that beat us. So I'd like to bet on the smaller side of things here, even as low as like 1,450 or something like that seems totally fine. Let's see what Jesse decides to do. Check back. I don't think checking back is terrible either, actually. I mean, we let him... It's not great, but we check back with the intention of calling all rivers, pretty much. It's not great, but I think it's fine. The wider we think he is on the flop... the weaker and wider we think he is, the better I like this, giving him a chance to make a mistake on the river if we don't think he's going to stick around on the turn too often. So I have a feeling that we fold this hand. That's my guess here. But given that we played our hand as weakly as we did, right? We raised pre-flop, which we did raise under the gun, that's true. So that's not really weak. But we raised under the gun, bet on the flop, then we just check back on the turn. By checking back on the turn, we're kind of indicating weakness, and we may have induced this from our opponent. Now, he could have 3-5, he could have 7-6, he could have 4-6, he could have, a set and just checked on turn. That's very possible. There are plenty of hands that beat us here, and I don't, despise folding. I mean, I wish we bet on turn, but I don't despise folding this river here. But I kind of feel like I would never fold as Jason Somerville. I would never fold this river, I don't think, because as we've played this hand, our hand could be literally king-jack suited. It could be 10-jack suited. It could be, pocket 3s. We've played our hand pretty weakly, and we kind of asked for this, and to now fold, I think, would be a mistake. Let's see what Jesse does. Oh, nice. Whether you win or lose, I'm happy that you called. Oh, brutal. What a brutal river. This is why we bet the turn, kids. Protect our hand a little bit, you know? Oh, that was sad. You got yourself a serving of sad beans on that one, I'm afraid. Sad beans coming right up. I don't know where sad beans came from in my life, but boy, they're a great thing. Okay, seems alright. Could re-raise, but I guess calling is fine. One of the benefits to re-raising is that I have a feeling we just check fold here, which is really sad, you know. We have ace-10. We have the best hand here so often. Yeah. I wasn't going to talk about that ballpark all over again. We've been down that road before. We don't appreciate the value of ace-high. Kids these days, you know, they just don't appreciate. They have ace-10, queen-7-4. The guy's got nothing. We just fold ace-high. Don't even appreciate having ace-high. Back in my day, we got ace-high. We weren't going anywhere. Kids, you know. All right. Moving on along here. Okay, don't think we're playing this hand. Oh, just 2 aces. No big deal. Okay, it looks fine. Getting a little bit on the short stacked here, but on the headed towards short stack land here, I guess. All right, looks good. Damn it. They knew it. We're too tight. Could have arguably tried to raise this king-9 hand there. Not that one, the one before. But I think it's all right, obviously, to fold. Got ourselves a playable hand in the big blind here. Is there anything we can call? I wouldn't re-raise. I think calling seems fine. Okay. Sweet flop for us. So this obviously sucks that this guy like limp called, now is potting. He certainly has something, but we're probably a favorite against his batch of somethings, you know, with our super strong draw here. So I would definitely not fold. I'm all in. Good luck. Let's hit a blue card, please. Nice. We agree. Okay. Don't like our chances. Oh, nice. We did it. Okay. I thought that was the end, but I guess it's not the end. All right, continuing on here. How do I feel about this? This is probably fine. It's 7 or 8-handed, and yeah, this guy's probably shoving wide enough that ace-10 is fine. Closer than you'd think, though. Nice. Good job. All right, we've straightened out the ship here a little bit, seems like. Okay, I don't think we're playing that hand, but maybe. Nope. Okay, looks fine. Yeah, didn't think. I mean, that's fine. That's fine. It's certainly all right. All right, sweet flop for us here. Betting seems certainly like the play to make. I think I'd actually bet a little bit bigger here. We're kind of deep with this guy. Our hand is probably going to be the best hand pretty often. I think we'd rather try to get some value, put money in the pot now while we're probably ahead. You know, I think we just want to shovel money into this pot. I think betting 850 just kind of makes people make correct decisions. They're going to call correctly. We're giving them a better price to draw. I think I'd rather just bet bigger than this, but it's not like far off. But I think we're, you know, slightly not optimized there. No way we're playing that. Maybe we play 3-4 suited. Nope. Not playing deuce 2-7. Okay. Off to the flop we go. Okay. Could actually arguably defend this against a raise in the cold call. You're getting a pretty good price. You're most likely going to get to see a flop here. But I think folding is certainly reasonable. Okay. Interesting spot we have here. Now, we haven't seen every single hand, and that's really what you kind of need to make a decision like this, which is why paying attention is so important. So I think like this guy could definitely have something that we're beating. It's possible, but I have no way of knowing because I haven't been watching this guy. So if we've seen every single hand, I could tell you, oh, this guy does this all the time. He doesn't have it here probably. This is some sort of a weird like stop and go bluff kind of thing, in which case we would either call or raise. But given that I have no information, I would be more inclined to fold and just be like, well, I'll keep an eye on you. Like that's where I'm at with this guy. Oh, I'm watching you, fucker. That's where I'd be at with this guy, I think. And I agree with the fold there. Or at least I believe I agree with your fold. Maybe informationally that is incorrect, but I think it's fine. Looks good. Love to see us complete here. Good job on the completion. Nice job. That was good. High five. I was so worried you were going to just fold. Instead, you made it happen. 9 high. Ace, king board or whatever. You just made it happen. Good job. All right, looks fine. Love to see us raise this. This is definitely a good enough hand raise. Jesse disagrees with me. Fuck you, Jay Carver. I'm not raising shit. All right, I don't know why you're cursing. I made you the apprentice, and you're all upset over there. Jeez Louise, no appreciation. Kid doesn't value ace high. Is cursing like a sailor. What do you gotta do around here? I don't know. I'd like to see us re-raise because we have ace king. Shockingly enough. Okay, looks fine. Please don't fold, whatever you do. I like the sizing. 1775 seems fine. Great year, by the way. Our opponent decides to call. So this is a tough spot. This is one of them tough spots. I'd start with a check. I think that's the first thing. I don't think betting makes a lot of sense. I mean, it does make some sense. If we think he'll fold hands between the realm of like 6s, 8s, 9s, and 10s, I don't think he'll ever fold a jack here. You know, no one folds jacks in this spot. It's 2014, last I checked. I think checking makes more sense than betting as far as like viability is concerned. But I'm not sure what we should do if he bets. So we check. Bleh. That's how I feel about this spot. I'm sad and vomiting and just not happy, generally speaking. I guess folding is fine. I mean, you know, I guess folding is fine. We haven't seen every single hand, so there's maybe a deviation we could make here if we saw every single hand. Like if we go, oh, we know this guy is super stationy or he wouldn't bet pairs in this spot. He's either got ace highs or club draws or nothing, or I don't know. Like there may be a chance we could talk ourselves into it, and we're getting a great price here. But it does represent a huge percentage of our stack, and I think folding is okay. But it's pretty gross all in all. I don't think there's anything you could really do to even protect yourself here. Raise a little bit bigger pre-flop, maybe slightly. But I don't really think there's much you can do in this spot. This is kind of just gross. Jesse agrees. All right. Let's see if we'll play this Jack-10 offsuit. Nope. No thank you. Could actually have also re-raised that in position there on the button. Would have been a very reasonable potential thing there. We have a pretty good hand in position against a guy who we've seen be pretty aggressive and open to a pretty wide, seems like a wide variety of hands here. Okay. I think checking back on the turn is fine in this spot. I don't think that needs to be bet there. So now we have a decision between folding and calling. I mean, I think... Again, it's tough to say because this is one of those spots that's really very opponent dependent. Some people just can never be bluffing here, and some people can definitely be bluffing here. You can be turning 10s and 9s into bluffs or have something like that, but I think folding is okay, believe it or not. Ooh, wow. Who's wearing the knit hat now? Yeah, I just think he has it too often in this spot. And it would be such a crazy bluff. Like, what are the hands that he has that defends in the big blind, number 1, then check calls flop, number 2, then decides to bet 1,000 into 3,000 on the river? There's not a lot of those hands that beat us, or that we beat. So I think I would have probably got away from this hand on the river, but I understand why you can't fold pairs. Pairs are wonderful things. I get it. It's not easy. Nobody likes folding pairs. Okay. You've had a lot of good hands in the big blind that just haven't developed into anything. Okay. I would open this. This is a pretty good spot, you know. Even just for a min raise, risking 800 to win 920, you're going to win that often enough. You know, you have a pretty good hand on the button. Neither of these guys, to me at least, has come off as being super aggressive. I think this is a spot we could have attacked. Just saying. Okay. Okay. Making progress, clicking through hands. Okay. Pretty good flop for us with the 4-7 offsuit. I like calling here. I would call here on the turn as well. And I don't think I would raise here because, I mean, even though we're pretty sure we have the best hand, I don't think he's going to call us if we raise. Like, you know, he's either going to re-raise or he's probably not going to re-raise too often, I guess. But I just don't think he's going to call us often enough here with worse. I think just calling is fine. You could make it, you know, 1900, you know, and just feel pretty confident about it. But he does have 9s sometimes. He didn't do anything that's, like, super convincing of me that he, like, can never have 9s. You know, all he did is limp pre and then min bet. He could definitely have 9s. I think I would just shove here. Could re-raise smaller. That also seems fine. But, like, you know, it's very close to the same decision. Okay. So you're raising these deuces here in the cutoff. You're raising these deuces here for a min raise is almost, if not worse. Actually, it is worse than folding the 6, as far as hand strength goes. Worse than the 6-9 suited hand on the button. There's one extra player, you're one worse position, and 6-9 suited plays better than deuces, generally speaking. You know, you have 2 guys now that could reshove on you stack-wise. You just re-raised like an orbit ago, so your image is a little bit worse. Just saying that if you think this hand is playable, the 6-9 suited hand is playable. They're very close in terms of value. Less close on the flop here. Just saying. I like that sizing, actually. Brutal turn card for you, probably, because he's going to check fold so often. I would bet, like, really, really, really small here. Like, 1,600 at largest. Nice. Wow, any 6th round. Great news for you. He probably has something. Pretty good river card for you, all in all. Give it to him. Oh, it feels so good. Oh, you have 3 of a kind in the board paired. Oh, it's beautiful. I'm all in. Eat it. Oh, nice. What did he have? All right, sweet. Good job. We did it. We made some money. All right, next contender. They're not learning. Oh, to check back. Huh? Okay, I guess. I mean, all right. I don't really love it, but I guess it's okay. You know, it's the same. We've talked about spots like this, I feel like, a couple times already in this video. You're going to want to bluff here with hands that have nothing. So you check back, you're saying you have something, and you do have something. So, you know, I don't think poker is best played when you're playing your hand face up. I would love to have you bet this turn card at least. Let's make some money here, Jesse. Come on. Come on, kid, you know? Let's make some money. And now you bet 800. We have 5 in a row. I'd like to see us raise because, you know, 5 in a row, etc. And he is just bluffing. Okay. All right. I don't think we're playing that hand. Nope. Okay. Could have defended this. I mean, it's a little bit on the loose side, but I don't think it's like terrible by any means. So, okay, so you check back here. You're just giving up straight up. All right, I guess. Never want to bet. Never want to bet. 2 overcards, you can see 5 cards. Don't worry. I don't want to win this pot. I'll give you a chance to make a pair. Friendly poker. Friendly poker. And don't want to raise 8-9 offsuit. You're on a heater, kid. I don't know what to tell you. You should be raising. Talking like Antonio now. All right. Sorry. Didn't mean to watch the boring hand blind versus blind. Okay. Could actually arguably re-raise this as well. Hand's pretty good. We've seen this guy be pretty aggressive. King-Queen does pretty all right against that. And I guess check folding on this board is fine. This board is pretty connected, and, you know, it's not like we have ace-queen, which is a little bit significantly stronger than king-queen there, I would say. So we defended the 10-7 suited, but we're folding the jack-7 suited for almost the exact same situation. Again, I think it's fine to fold jack-7 suited here, and maybe there's a timing difference or something, but I'm just pointing out the logical inconsistencies there. If you're defending 10-7 suited, you should have a reason. You know, there should be some logical reason in your mind. If you're in this situation and you're playing a hand that's like 1 pip worse even in this spot, but you're folding in this spot there, well, there are very good reasons why you go, well, this time the guy raised really fast, and he had been losing a lot of pots, and I thought he was tilting, but now he's not doing any of those things. So that's why I folded. That's great. That's a totally fine, legitimate purpose. You sold me. That's great. But if you don't have that, then it's just bad, right? Your logic is just flawed in some way. It's flawed, you know? You want it to be like this. It's like this. That's no good. Defend? All right, we defended this here. Again, I would like to point out to you that the 4-5 suited defend on the button here would not be significantly worse than this defend. I know it feels like this is definitely better, but it's not like much worse to defend 4-5 suited here, mathematically speaking. Call, I guess. We could also raise, play this aggressively. He's going to fold better hands than king high, of course, and we're going to make mistakes on turn cards sometimes if he bombs it. But we also allow this guy to sometimes let us make mistakes if he makes it like 6K here or something like that with just a hand like, you know, king-queen. Yeah, king-queen, I guess we're making a mistake. But if he has like ace-queen or something like that, we're making a mathematical mistake sometimes. So I think I'd actually heavily consider being aggressive here, but I think calling is what most people do and is okay. That's a pretty good turn card for us. Love to see us bet around the realm of 3,000. We bet 3,000. There's another 6,000 in the pot if he continues. So there's 11,000 in the pot, and our opponent will have 10,800, which is sweet. So I think 3,000 is right around where we want to be. Okay. A little on the small side, but it still accomplishes what we're looking for, I think. All right. That obviously is good news for us. Wow. Lucky you. Lucky you. Played it perfectly, too. I might have lost. I might have got it in bad. You got it in great. Don't want to raise the next hand. Just counting your chips. Too happy over there. It's a great spot to attack, you know? You got to attack here. Trying to win the tournament. Trying to win the tournament. Not just cash the tournament. You're trying to win the tournament. Come on, Jesse. Come on. All right, new table here. Is this one we raise? Okay. Looks good. Okay. Defend, yes. Check and call and check and bet and call. Okay. What a terrible check back by this guy on the turn. Bet. Come on. This guy is being a nit. You have so many like 10s and straight draws and 9s, and you know, he's just letting you get there if you happen to have a single spade, letting you get there if you happen to have a 10 or something like that. You know, this is a too tight check by this guy on the turn there. He's seeing monsters under his bed. There are no monsters there. Not usually. At least. Unless your name is Donnie Darko, and then sometimes. But even then, they're not really there. Okay, so looks fine. Again, you could be aggressive in this spot, but I understand we don't like being aggressive, so I get it. I like folding there too. That seems fine. You know, whatever. It doesn't have to work very often for us to break even. You know, or show a profit would be even better, obviously. Okay. Yeah, I guess that seems fine. I like that defend. That's a good defend. You play your big blind pretty well, I think, or at least you have this video so far. That is a great turn bet. This is what we should. This is exactly the same thing we should have done earlier when we had the whatever that hand was, 10-7 of hearts. This is exactly, almost exactly the same logic and reasoning. So whatever reasons that you had in your mind that you bet there, most likely they should have been applied to the hand that they should have been applied to the hand with 10-7. Just saying. Not playing that hand. Probably playing this hand. All right, this is the tough one. So we've seen this guy be kind of aggressive, right? We've just seen him, or well, he had the queens, I guess. We saw that hand at showdown. I guess I'm not really sure. This is a spot where people make mistakes. This is a tough one. This is a tough situation. I think that most people would fold in this spot. It's a lot of chips. He's making it 3,000 more. We're out of position. Our hand is not great. The hands he does this with that beat us really do destroy us, you know. If he happens to have ace, queen, ace, king, aces through jacks, you know, we're in really bad shape. And if we're not sure, I think folding is okay. But if we're suspicious of him, I think calling is fine. But I think I lean towards folding here. And that's me saying that, so I think folding is okay. All right. I think that's a good dodge, generally speaking. Even if you're only dodging tough situations, I still think that's an okay dodge on your part there. All right. Don't think we're winning this hand. Huh. Okay. All right. Oh, man. Should have defended this hand. 2 per. Interesting open with the king 5 suited. I guess it's fine. He's pretty late position. Do we open this? Nope. Nope. Okay. Looking good. This is all pretty good. The majority of these hands are fine. I just feel like we're like a little bit too tight from time to time. And I think we've made some like slightly illogical decisions, or at least they're not like logically consistent based on the information that I have. And obviously they could be fine. I'm just, you know, I can only base it off of the limited amount of information that I have in front of me here. But I think there's, generally I think you're playing pretty well, but Okay, this also I don't understand. Like, you know, we've been so tight and we've avoided so many spots, and we're like, oh, we're gonna keep it to playing good hands. But then we play fives for a 4x raise in the small blind. You know, yeah, we're really deep and we're like set mining, which is great, but we're basically straight up set mining in a spot where it's not really a great time to do it, in my opinion. It's better that he calls, but, you know, if we're on the button, okay, maybe. But he's raised it so big, you know, we're really gonna put in so much with fives. I don't really love that spot. I like this spot way better. I'm definitely calling. He's going to have so many hands worse than ace-9. I'm like breaking my finger to call here. Oh my god. Oh, Jesse. Oh my god. Jesse. Please. He is trying to give you 10,000 chips. I mean, if this is like the tightest player in the tournament, then I would say I hope he doesn't have me beat before I snap call. Like, that's really what I would have to say in this situation. This is just too tight. Too tight. Oh, it hurts me. I was like, of course he snap calls. Oh, no, he folds. Oh, sure. All right. I mean, again, like, that's just too tight. You know, think about how many hands your min raise folding. You have all the chips. He is probably shoving all of his aces, a lot of kings. Might even be shoving like suited connectors, all pocket pairs. Mathematically speaking, you just have to get it in, and or call, I should say. And yeah, we didn't, obviously. I would definitely re-raise here. This guy kind of screwed you a little bit, because if he wasn't in the pot, you might be able to just call and then be a little bit more worried and conservative. But because this guy exists and called, you might have kind of created this vortex universe where this guy feels like he can pressure you off and play a weaker hand. I mean, this is scary to me. This is very scary to me. I am slightly petrified by what this is, because what in the world is raises under the gun, gets pretty largely raised by you, cold called, and now he's making it only 4,000 more. I am concerned here. I mean, actually, at first I was like, yeah, of course, we have to snap shove, I'm all in. But if we actually had enough information here, I actually wouldn't hate folding. It's crazy, I know. How can we fold a hand this good? But I actually think that we might be able to do that. Oh, God, this is a gross spot. I think we should either shove or fold right now. I don't think calling is the correct play. Oh, man, I don't know. This is a tough spot. This is a tough spot. Let's go to the beginning of this hand. He makes it 1,200. They're missing a player there. We make it 3,275, and this guy behind us cold calls. I don't know. This is a tough hand. This might be the toughest hand of the tournament that we've seen here. I am not really sure what to do. I assume we're getting like kind of near. I guess we can't be that near the bubble, but I mean, I am not sure what to do here. I think that we could call. We're getting a good price. We're in position. This guy is very, very, very unlikely to shove over us, because this looks so strong. But, you know, we put in 3K, we just full move on to the next hand and just avoid this entire catastrophe, because this sizing is scary. If we had seen every single hand, I would feel a little bit more comfortable, maybe, but I actually think folding is okay here. I'm like, there's no way this guy is ace-queen, right? Literally almost never. I mean, this makes me feel like, at first I thought that by this guy calling that that this call might have made this guy do something like this, but he didn't make it 10,000, he made it 7,200, which to me just like screams strength. But, you know, it's the internet, and he could have anything, so maybe we should call. I honestly am not sure what to do. I think that I would fold here. It would be crazy, but I think I would fold here pre-flop. It's nuts, but I don't know, man. This is a tough spot. I think calling is okay. I think shoving is okay. I think folding is okay. I mean, I think if you showed this hand to 10 different tournament professionals, you'd probably get 6 of them to say, I'm all in, I have ace king, what else do I do? And which say you ignore those 6 because, you know, what do they know? And then you take the other 4, you show it to like Helmuth, and he's like, yeah, I just fold, of course, I have nothing, I have ace high. You know, I really don't know. I'm not sure. I can't fault you on anything you do here, because this is a tough decision. I'm all in. Oh, hopefully he doesn't have aces. Hopefully he doesn't have aces. Okay. Okay. All right. Just ace king. Whew. All right. In my opinion, we kind of got a little bit lucky here because I would not have thought he has ace king and would re-raise so small. Okay, I guess. By the way, we're defending the fives in the other spot. I think this is a better spot to defend fives than the other spot. We're in position against this guy. I know he's kind of short, but people aren't going to attack this very often, especially because your call would kind of look strong too. I'm just saying. But yeah, I don't mind your shove. I would not have thought he had ace king because he raised so small pre-flop. I would think he would raise bigger with that kind of a hand. But good job not folding. You would have made a mistake technically by folding. But I would have just put the 3K in and said, see you later. I wouldn't have been so concerned, I think. I would have just said, okay, maybe he has the same hand or has queens or something. But I think I would have folded that if this was like a 10K or something. If it was the main event, I think I would have folded. But okay, 2 queens here for us. Very well played. That's a tough hand. I'd love to hear what you guys think about that hand. Make sure you let me know in the comments below. That's probably like one of the closest hands I think we've ever had on Run It Up Apprentice. That's a tough spot, man. If it wouldn't be so tough, if he made it 10,000, I'm like, all right, I'm all in. It's great. But because of the sizing, I'm like, oh, that's a very strong sizing from that guy, you know? All right, we defend it here. And we check call, which seems good. Nice river for us. Nice. You played that hand very well. Very well. No fear. No fear. Jesse Will is here. Okay. All right. Don't want to raise the 8-9 suited, huh? Yeah, it's not for me. Oh, it's like the Sherry from Philadelphia voice there for a minute. It's not for me. All right, whatever. Do your thing. I'm not your dad. What do you make it? I would have defended this. I would have defended this in the heartbeat. Getting such a great price, 2.4 to 1 in position with Jack 8. I would see a flop for sure. I understand if you don't want to, you're less experienced and so on and so forth, but I would not have gone anywhere. Okay. What was starting stack in this tournament? It was 10,000, right? I think so. I would raise this as well with an ace here in the cutoff or hijack. I would have raised this. I would call. I would cold call this. Folding is okay. I think that's the second best option, but I would cold call this. Call and fold to another raise. He only has like 6 big blinds or whatever, you know. I would have called that, and if someone had shoved behind me, I would have folded. Off to the flop we go. I think check calling here is very reasonable against a guy who we might suspect is being aggressive, especially on a board like this. I think check calling is certainly very reasonable. Definitely betting now, though. Oh, guess not. Definitely would bet now. We almost for sure have the best hand now, right? So why are we letting him see a free card? You know, there's no reason to. You know, hey man, why don't you see if you can make 5 diamonds over there for $0 and then take this all pot away from me? It doesn't make any sense, right? We really want to be aggressive in this spot. I think we're just kind of like making a pretty terrible mistake here, in my opinion. We're just letting him either get there if he happens to have, you know, an overcard or a pocket pair or a diamond or a straight draw or whatever he has. You know, we're making a mistake by checking on this turn card. We have almost for sure the best hand on the turn. Why are we not betting? Protect ourselves a little bit, you know? And I feel even more flabbergasted that we're not betting this river. You know, we're literally just saying, you know, I don't understand. Like, I would love to actually hear why. What's the reason we're not betting? Are we afraid that he has the best hand? Well, why would we be afraid of that? All he's done is call and check. You know, he's shown no strength whatsoever, and we know our hand. Our hand is very good. Like, but vulnerable. Like, why are we not betting? And if we're worried about it being vulnerable, and we're like, no, listen, I'm just really concerned. We're very not sure we have the best hand here. I don't really know. I think he's got us beat sometimes, or I don't want to play a big pot and see a diamond, or I'm trying to think of like some excuse why we would not want to bet the turn. If that's all true, once the river comes at 9, why are we checking then? We've not seen him try to bluff once so far, right? We've given him 2 chances to bluff, and he has said, I'm fine. So he's not going to bluff now. The 9 isn't going to really change his life, I don't think. It's not an ace, you know what I mean? I don't think there's any reason to suspect he's going to bluff. So why are we not betting now? We are almost even more for sure now. We've now seen him act 2 times post flop. I think this is a pretty big mistake not betting the river, honestly. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So that's the last hand that I have in this pile for now. So obviously we're not out. We have 41,000 chips. So we're about an hour in, almost exactly. So I'm gonna wrap the video up right here. But we'll conclude this video. I assume maybe not tomorrow, but we'll conclude this video sometime soon and all that. So if you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments below. This was an interesting session. Some really interesting spots, I thought. The ace-king hand was one of the toughest hands I think I've ever seen in tournament stuff that we've had on my channel, actually. That was really interesting, I thought. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget that I started up an IRC channel. I'm in there hanging out, talking about poker, hands histories, video games, all sorts of things. It's Run It Up, or channel, the hashtag Run It Up on SYN-IRC, SYN-IRC. I put in how to do IRC description thing in the last video that I did. So check that out if you want to come hang out with us. There's already 30 people in there already, actually. Maybe even more. Yeah, there's like 30 people in there or so, and we're just in there hanging out, talking. It's great. So you can come hang out and join us in there if you want. It's a pretty awesome chat so far. So yeah, that's about it for me. There'll be some cool videos coming out the next few days. There'll be some short videos, some long videos, some cool stuff happening. So stay tuned for all that. Thanks so much for watching as always, guys, and I will see you back for more very soon. Peace.